Since we haven't done anything with loops, what we're going to be doing is creating a view that displays information from several different arrays. And we're going to be using looping to access what we have in the arrays. So we're going to start in our home controller, and we are going to create an action method. And we're calling it main office employees. And all this is going to do is return the view. And I'm going to save. And then I'm going to generate a view. And main office employees is fine. We are going to use the layout page, so we're going to click on add. And we'll change the view bag title, although we don't really need it. And after the title, we are going to be creating several arrays, and we are going to specify data types that'll make them strongly typed. And after we create each of the arrays, we are going to determine the length and store that as well, because that will help us in the body of our view where we're trying to display data. So I'm going to pause while I key all of this in. So I've got a string array called staff, got that populated, figuring out the length and storing it. I've got another string array called managers, determining the length of that and storing it. And then I have one called officers, and I'm determining the length and storing that. And then I've got a little variable that I call X, and that is set to 0. Then you'll notice that I do have a graphic, so we are going to have to download that. Might as well do that now. So I'm going to right click, save link as. Oops. And here it is. I need to put that in content. There it is. Okay, and continuing on, I've got a for loop, and you can see that starting with an @ sign. And it's going to stay in this loop as long as X is less than the length of staff. Okay, and then we subscript in basically and print the staff each on a separate line. So that's why we've got the opening and closing P's there. And then we put a little horizontal rule, a line in, and then we've got a little heading for our managers. And this one is a for each loop, which I actually think is ideal for arrays if you want to process everything. So it's going to be processing the managers array, and we're giving it kind of an alias of person. And so all it's going to do is go through, it's going to subscript in to each element and print out the contents using the alias of person. Okay, so we actually don't even need the length for this one. Then displays a horizontal rule, the next title, which is the office. Actually, that should be officer. Officers. And this one, you're going to be using a while loop. So we're just kind of resetting X to 0 to make sure it's got a valid value. As long as X is less than the length of the officer array, which we stored from up here, then we can access the element associated with X and print that out. And then you'll notice that we increase X, and eventually X will not be less than the length, and it'll pop out of the loop. Okay, so you can kind of see how this is set up. And I'm going to save this, and we're going to go ahead and run this. And again, this is working because we have the action method in the controller the same name as the view. So I'm going to close out of here. And our next step is actually going to be to modify the layout page, because we want to add menu items for the new pages that we just created. So I'm going to copy this last menu item here. And I'm just going to paste it 3 times. And so for the first one, I want it to display main office. Second one, I want it to display pay calculator. And the third one is going to be add new employee. And so the action method that is going to display for main office is main office employees. And the action method that we need to use for the pay calculator is gross pay calculator. And the action method for the new employee form is called add emp. And they are all in the home controller. And then the last little touch that we're going to add to this is in our footer. Right now, it's showing the date, the year, little copyright and the year, and my ASP.NET application, and we are going to change that. So we're going to keep the at date time, now year, and then after the dash, this is where we're going to put the copyright. So we're going to do ampersand copy semicolon. And then we're going to put XYZ detective agency and get rid of the rest of the code there. And we're going to do a save all. And now we're going to run it. And what we need to check is to make sure we can access all of our great stuff from our menu. And that is all working. So at this point, you can go ahead and close out of that.